Foggy May morning in eastern Ukraine, a major Russian assault crushed the defensive line near Dresba. Tanks, infantry, and armored vehicles pushed forward before Ukrainian forces could react. What followed was a perfect example of how modern artillery, drones, and real-time data can turn the tide of battle. An weapon system, ready to strike back before it was ever seen. Joel's story behind the battle, and the mysterious American weapon that changed everything. On May, Russian forces launched a full-scale ground assault on Ukrainian positions near the village of Dresba. It was a serious push, likely planned for weeks, involving tanks and infantry support. From the first minute, it was clear this attack was meant to break through. Russian T-7, followed by BMP infantry fighting vehicles and Storm Z assault teams, using 12.7mm and 30mm machine guns to fire. Their tactic was simple: overwhelm the trenches before the defenders could respond. Indian troops, especially those in the 93rd Mechanized Brigade, came under intense pressure as Russian units advanced across open terrain. The defensive line risked collapse. Ukrainian machine gun teams returned fire, but it wasn't enough to stop the under constant bursts of heavy fire. Russian forces advanced with a clear goal: to break Ukrainian resist deeper into the front. At that moment, Ukrainian commanders faced a critical decision. Since or firepower arrived soon, their forward units could be surrounded or they needed help, and fast. This is where the battle shifted. In response to the growing their strongest weapons, the American-made M109 moment marked the start of a different kind of fight. One where speed, precision, and real-time intelligence would not just between holding the line, but between survival and destruction numbers. But Ukraine had something else: technology ready to strike back. When the front line began to buckle under pressure, Ukraine turned to one of its most advanced, the American-made M109 Paladin. This self-propelled howitzer was ready to turn in a shallow ravine roughly 17 kilometers behind the zero line. Its mission was clear: to stop the Russian breakthrough. The M109 Paladin carries a powerful 155mm cannon, capable of stay. But it's not just about firepower. The real strength of this system lies in it. Unlike older Soviet artillery, which can take several minutes to calculate, fire-rated fire control system does it in under 30 seconds. This allows the crew to react much faster to moving targets and shifting. Inside the Paladin, the targeting. Once the firing order comes in, the onboard computer quickly processes data and environmental factors. This includes wind speed, air pressure, and even the barrel's temperature. Achieve highly accurate shots without relying on guesswork or outdated. Paladin is not a new platform, but it's upgraded electronics and soft combat. Its crew can fire multiple rounds per minute to avoid counter-battery fire. This shoot and scoot tactic keeps the system safe from Russian radar and returns fire while continuing to support. In the May 10th battle near Dresba, the Ukrainian command center passed real-time coordinates to the Paladin team, who were able to load, aim. Each shell sent was not just a blind shot, it was a calculated strike against armored vehicles. What made the Paladin especially valuable was its ability to fire without. After just a few, relocate and continue the mission from a new position. This flexed back hard while staying protected. The arrival of the Paladin shifted forces had the numbers and were already pushing deep into Ukrainian lines, the precise firepower from sent to blunt that advance. It wasn't just about stopping tanks. It was about showing that Ukraine could resist and hold the line with fewer resources but smarter weapons. This was the beginning of a fight shaped not just by soldiers on the ground, but the M109. It helped change its course. Modern battles are no longer decided by fire. They rely on information, timing, and control. In the fight near the drone that gave Ukraine the upper hand before a single round was fired above the battlefield, this drone acted as both scout and guide, feeding real-time data straight to the M. The Phoenix drone uses a stabilized sensor system that can detect movement with extreme accuracy. Infrared cameras track targets with precision down to 0.02 degrees. A tank or infantry squad, even through light fog or under poor visibility. That kind of detail matters when your targets are armored vehicles moving at over 60 kilometers per hour. The drone's data is not just clear, it's fast. Every 1.7 seconds, speed, and heading of each enemy unit. These updates are designed to resist jamming, which is critical in an environment where Russian electronic warfare is active. And crew within seconds, giving them a complete picture of the battlefield. But the Phoenix does more than. The onboard AI automatically identifies and ranks targets based on threat level. It analyzes factors like armor thickness to friendly forces. In this battle, it highlighted a lead T-72 tank as the top priority because its main gun was. That early warning was essential. Without the drone, dated coordinates or reports from the front, which could take minutes to verify. The Phoenix reduced that, turning the sensor-to-shooter cycle into a seamless flow. Instead of aiming where the enemy they were, and that made all the difference. The Phoenix, with troops only 80 meters from enemy armor, there was no thermal imaging and AI target marking. Ukrainian forces were able to fire accurately, even under intense battlefield pressure. In the sky, the Phoenix was a battlefield partner. It didn't just help Ukraine survive the Russian assault. It allowed them to control and strike smart. Role is no longer supported. It's central. And on May 10th, a flying sensor can be when linked with the right weapons. 109 Paladin didn't just shoot, it delivered a calculated storm. Using a technique called MRSI, or impact, it was able to fire 6 shells in a sequence that all landed on the target at nearly the same time. Increase firepower. It removed the enemy's chance to react or escape. SI is timing and angle. Each shell is launched with a different arc and amount of charge apart. They all arrive on target within a 2-second window. That's enough time for the enemy to hear the first round land, but not enough to move. It's a method that turns one gun into the equivalent of a coordinated battery strike. To achieve this, runs over 130 calculations per shot. It takes into account barrel wear, powder temperature, wind direction, and these aren't minor details. They can change where a shell lands by tens for each variable. The Paladin boosts its chance of a first-round hit ranges beyond 18 kilometers. That kind of happens, but here, it's achieved with standard shells. In the Dresba engagement, the Russian column was advancing in a tight formation, BMPs leading, tanks in the rear. Within the Paladin launched all 6 rounds. Each traveled a different together. 2 BMPs were destroyed outright, while a nearby T-72 lost its track and the shock of the hits forced other vehicles to halt and buying time for Ukrainian infantry. MRSI also gave Ukrainian forces a psychological edge. When multiple explosions hit at fusion, enemy soldiers can't tell where the fire is coming from. They only know that death is falling from the sky all at once. Unlike older artillery systems, which require multiple vehicles and a complex setup, the Paladin did it alone. It fired, all without needing a support crew or second battery. That's what makes it through. It delivers the effects of massed fire from a single mobile unit. This method didn't. It showed what modern artillery can do when supported by smart software. The days of slow, blind shelling are over. With MRSI, every shot counts. When the battle pushed dangerously close to Ukrainian trenches, the US supplied Paladin switched to a different kind of where every meter matters. The M982 Excalibur shell was used to strike Russian tanks that had moved within 80 meters of Ukrainian troops. This was about precision under pressure. The Excalibur round is designed to hit a specific point, not traditional shells that might miss by hundreds of feet. Excalibur has a CP of less than 4 meters. That means almost every shot lands exactly where it's aimed. This level of where friendly forces are in close contact with the enemy. The Ukrainian command gave approval for danger close fire, where friendly troops could be harmed. But with Excalibur, risk advanced fire control computer adjusted for GPS data and accuracy. The crew fired 4 guided rounds in just over a minute. The results were immediate and devastating, by a direct hit to its turret. 2 more tanks and a BMP command vehicle were also taken. These were not random explosions. They were carefully targeted strikes designed to remove the most dangerous threats without endangering Ukrainian lives. The switch to Excalibur showed how fast modern artillery can adapt. In older systems, using a precision round required extra steps. Here, the Paladin simply received coordinates, selected the proper shell, and fired within seconds. This speed, group and hold the line. Each Excalibur shell costs around $112,000, which is a heavy price, but in return of many conventional shells, and it does so without collateral damage. In this battle, 4 rounds eliminated multiple armored threats and prevented a potential breakthrough. This wasn't just a display of power, it was a change the course of a battle. Pressing hard, but the Excalibur stripped away their momentum. It gave defenders a tool that could strike only what needed to be destroyed. In the modern battle can be separated by a few hundred feet, such accuracy is no longer optional. And in this case, it helped prevent what could have been a disastrous collapse of the Ukrainian front line. As Russian infantry began spreading out across the wheat fields near Dresba, the Paladin quickly changed its role. Area denial weapon. The American-made system didn't stop to rest. It simply changed ammunition. Now, the target was not exposed in the open. To deal with this new threat, the crew loaded M483A1D PICM rounds. Each of these carries 88 submunitions, small bomblets, designed to scatter over bomblets, M42 and M46 types, combination effects. That makes them ideal for hitting troops and light vehicles. Fired, the shell bursts in midair at a planned altitude of 50 meters. From there, it rains down bombs. Every one of these tiny bombs has a lethal radius of up to 15 meters against personnel and can... The Paladin's fire control system and spread to ensure maximum coverage with minimum waste. Within seconds of impact, the Phoenix drone's thermal camera picked up dozens of heat blooms across the 900 square meter target zone. One BMP was disabled by fragments hitting its top than the front or sides. Russian infantry, hasty defense, had no time to seek cover. Artillery would have needed 8 to 10 high explosive shells to cover the same ground. The enemy a chance to move. The gypsum rounds delivered 1 rapid striking speed. Firepower showed how flexible the Paladin truly is. Between shell types might take minutes, or even require different gun platforms. Here, the Paladin adjusted in under a minute and responded with the exact tool for the job. Standout was not just the number of bomblets or the size of the strike area. It was the speed and efficiency need to wait for backup or risk close combat. The artillery gave them breathing room by clearing out a potential wave of real threat. In modern warfare, reacting fast is just as important as firing to anti-personnel munitions. The Paladin helped stop a second wave of the Russian attack before it could gain ground. Everyone on the field and watching from command posts, that dominance doesn't always mean more, it's about the right shot at the right time. The Paladin, not just firepower. Just minutes after delivering devastating strikes, its crew, Russian counter-battery radar, had locked onto their position. Park 1 system was scanning at high frequencies and tracking the Paladin's firing location with increasing accuracy. Longer than the safe window. If they delayed even a few seconds more, incoming Russian shells would hit their Reacting fast, the vehicle commander ordered an immediate withdrawal. The Paladin's best escape route, guiding the 27.5-ton howitzer through rough terrain. Its power engine pushed the vehicle 3.8 kilometers to a secondary firing site in just over 90 seconds. That quick, less than 2 minutes after they left, enemy shells rained down on their former location. Had they remained, the crew would have been lost. Advanced sensors and smart planning. They were already repositioned and ready to fire again. This ability to shoot and relocate so quickly, called shoot and scoot warfare, it keeps crews alive and guns firing. In this case, it helped the Paladin stay in the fight while avoiding disaster. The battlefield near Dresba changed completely. What began with burned-out vehicles, retreating infantry, and a Ukrainian line still holding was the American-made M109 Paladin, delivering vision. By 7:05 a.m., and just 51 minutes of non-stop fire, Paladin changed the course of the battle near Dresba. 8 Russian armored vehicles were destroyed, and the remaining This quick and precise response was not only effective but also highly efficient. Throughout the engagement, the Paladin fired 8 GPS-guided Excalibur rounds and 4 anti-personnel DPCIM munitions. Each round was selected based on the changing threat, from tanks near friendly troops to infantry in the open. Made every shot count without wasting firepower. One of them was done using 70% less ammunition than traditional artillery would require. The Paladin's fast repositioning and flexible loadout made it possible to handle multiple threats while staying one step ahead of Russian counterattacks. It delivered a message: smart weapons, fast decisions, and teamwork can break an assault before it breaks through. The battle in warfare is no longer just about numbers or brute strength. It's about speed, precision, and support. From the American-made M109 Paladin, Ukraine stopped a large Russian assault in just 51 minutes. Data, guided artillery, and flexible tactics all work together to hold the line. This fight showed how advanced systems RSI techniques can change outcomes on the battlefield, saving lives while using fewer resources. In a war where every second gave Ukraine a clear edge. And as new threats rise in modern offer a glimpse into the future of artillery. Faster, smarter, and deadlier than ever. And that wraps up what Navy Secret has to share with you today, bringing you the most authentic, up-to-date insights, backed by experts and political researchers. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Your support is what drives us to be in-depth content. Let us know your thoughts in the comments of the video. See you then.